Ranni is Elden Ring's true villain. You might have seen my video on Miquella and how I called him the true villain. But before you flame me for recreating such a similar video, please let me explain. First of all, I just wanted to do a second part of the true villain saga because quite frankly, I screwed up on the last one. I put the gain too high on my microphone, and by the time I woke up the following day and realised it already had 7k views. And as someone hilariously stated, my dude, I don't know if it's the microphone, but each statement starts with caps locks and ends in ASMR. I'm not even going to lie to you all, I think that comment summed it up better than I ever could. And well, secondly, because Miquella isn't the only true villain. Yes, Miquella has his own vile actions, but upon recent reminiscing, my brain came to a realisation. Miquella really isn't the only true villain. There is also a certain lunar princess, Ranni. The reason I think people don't like to actually admit Ranni's faults is, well, lust. People have been lusting after Ranni since its launch, and well, I'm 99% positive that it's probably influenced a lot of lore videos. But luckily, I don't have a lust-ailed mind for a decaying four-armed puppet, so you guys are in luck. And by the way, she's rude as shit, like, come on guys, get your heads out the gutter. Ranni's beginnings weren't modest, to say the least. Born into a prestigious matriarchal dynasty and being the firstborn female, Ranni would be the one to inherit and become the heir to the Carian's throne and eventually queen. But what if I was to say this was a trick of the light? I go more into it in my previous videos, but I'll briefly go over it now. If you want more information on this topic, stick around to the end of the video to find out which video it is. Ranni is not the child of Rynala and Radhn as we first thought, but in my opinion the child of Queen Marika the Eternal and her other half, Radhn of the Golden Order. It is my belief that Ranni is not a Carian. My main point for belief in this is Ranni is an Emperyan. We know only Marika and Radhn's children are Emperyans. Miquella, Melania, the gloam-eyed queen, and finally Ranni. Long ago, with the fusion of Marika and the Elden Ring, Radhn was born. They both went on to marry separate individuals. Marika marrying Godfrey, formerly Horolu, and Radhn marrying Rynala, Queen of the Full Moon. Eventually, they must have come to a conclusion. They could and would not be able to sire a successor apart. So as a test, Ranni was born under the guise as Rynala's child. And after Ranni was born and was deemed an Emperyan, I imagine Radhn leaving Rynala wasn't long after, marrying Marika and becoming second Elden Lord, siring 3 more Emperyans. It's also worth mentioning that Ranni's true body almost completely resembles Radhn. Even so, Rynala loved Ranni, and Ranni loved her. As seen in Rynala's boss fight, even now in her hate-filled mind, that familial love still lives on deep down, conjuring great beasts to defend her adopted mother. But unfortunately, like letting out a wet fart, this is where her clean streak ends, and from this point on, an explosion of lore occurs for the worst. At some point, deep in the woods of her home, Ranni met an old crone. This old crone just so happened to be a sorceress of great wisdom and power. And while this might seem all okay, it is my belief that this is where Ranni's dark path began. It's very likely that Ranni was groomed by this crone. For what purpose, we don't know. But given the crone's very pale bluish tinted skin, as we find out via Ranni's shell, I think it's very possible that Rena, the old crone, is a Nox or related to the Eternal Cities in some capacity. The only others that wait for the Age of Stars to be heralded is the Nox, and to some extent the Carians. Who else better to groom and indoctrinate Ranni into everything that entails the Age of Stars than our ancestors? You might be thinking, ancestors? And yes, I do mean biological ancestors, if it is true that Ranni is a child of Marika, that is. We know that Marika is of the Numen race. It's also theorised that the Nox are descendants of the Numen, a race that was said to have originated from a different world. And now at first I believe this other world to be a hidden part of the planet of the Lands Between, as faraway places were referred to in our history. But what if it was more literal? What if all we need do is look to the stars? What if the Numens came from the stars? And when you add in that the Nox are most likely descendants of the Numens, That makes them and Ranni denizens of a foreign and different world. So I 100% believed the old crone was a Nox, tasked to try to bring the aged stars and perhaps bring their kin back to the stars from which they came, like us and Ranni do at the end of the game. Regardless to the reasons, Ranni's next few years would rock the very foundations of the lands between. As the years progressed and as Ranni grew, resentment for the Golden Order surfaced, most likely to do with her father's abandonment that shattered her dear adopted mother's mind. So she plotted, and on one fateful night, destined death was stolen, and by a sacred ritual the rune of death was bestowed upon multiple daggers, all of whom wielding the daggers were of the Newman or even perhaps Nox race, all women in gender. The Black Knight assassins snuck through the capital undetected and slew Godwyn the Golden from within the Erd Tree. What he was doing in the Erd Tree, we might never know. Prior to the assassination beginning, Ranni bestowed upon her equally twisted adopted brother a shard of destined death, in case Malekith became too big of a problem, before making her way to her divine tower, and at the same time, her brother, Godwyn, died. She also killed herself, causing the centipede to form on both their bodies. When two demigods die at the same time, a phenomenon occurs. One must lose their body and the other must lose their soul. Godwyn lost his soul and Ranni lost her body, taking a form almost identical to her mentor's. Hell, perhaps even Ranni merged with a mentor like Marika and Radhn and Rykard and the Great Serpent before her. Either way, this caused Marika to act drastically, leading to the shattering of the Elden Ring and the abandonment of the Greater Will, leading to the shattering war where millions died by Ranni's hand. Yes, she may have been groomed, but this was all her. She did it. She honestly probably has the highest kill count in Elden Ring, as all of the terrible things that happen in the story could have been avoided if not for Ranni's deluded actions. Luckily though, the next part of her plan was stifled, at least for a time, by none other than her half-brother, Radhn. Radhn fought the very stars that his family had worshipped for eons, halting the fate in the sky and the stars, and Ranni by proxy. He did not do this for glory, or pride, no, he did this because it was right. He knew what needed to be done, and he took action, which is a lot more than a lot of people. But we undo all of this. We kill Radhn. We aid Ranni of the Dark Moon, allowing the fate in the stars to resume. We do her absolute bidding. We destroy the Elden Beasts for her, allowing her to take her throne, heralding in the age of the stars, probably bringing death to millions upon millions upon millions. The scary part about this ending is we don't see the world. In every other ending, we see the effects the ending has on the world, but not with Ranni's. I know about the whole Japanese translation mistake, but still, it says she will bring the stars with her into the cosmos, which probably includes the Nox. Yet how do we know that she isn't just going to nuke the lands between behind her? After all, her Dark Moon is present inside the Erd Tree, evident by the ending. She obviously does not care whatsoever about the lives around the lands between. What's a few more million? Hell, tens of million to add to her list. She don't give no shits. Sadly everyone, that is the end of the video. I really hope you did enjoy. The video I was talking about at the beginning of the video should be popping up about now. And as well, mental pat on the back to you for getting to the end of the video. Well done. And yeah, I hope you guys and girls have a great rest of your day, and may you all find your worth in the waking world. I hope I see you in the next one. Bye everyone.